Gentlemen, American jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show. We're sponsored by Deters Legal Consulting. More on that later. Also, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Well, the lead story is Donald Trump got an interview on Fox News. Whoa! He did an interview with Sean Hannity, and he laid out everything that's going on. He explained that they've gone after him a little bit on the tweet relative to the baseball bat to brag. Can you imagine the stuff that they've done to Donald Trump? And he explained that he put out the message, he didn't see the photograph of it, was taken down. But still, it's just amazing to me how much Trump gets tortured every single day, and it's okay. I know the same. It's okay to say what you want about Eric Deters. It's okay to say what you about Donald Trump. He also laid out about Ron DeSantis crying, almost had tears in his eye crying for his endorsement. Do not ever forget this. Donald Trump endorsed Ron DeSantis in a competitive Republican primary that got him elected in 2018 as governor of Florida. That is a fact. Fact. By the way, a buddy of mine, Randy McCafferty, he's funny. We share stuff, funny stuff. He said Donald Trump is like Batman. I said, what do you mean? He says, because Batman just keeps on fighting the villains, but the villains never die, and the villains keep coming back. In other words, Schiff and Clintons and Biden and Obamas and all of them. And there's always just a new episode, a new movie that comes out where Batman is still fighting the villains. And I said, that's perfect. You're right. Trump's Batman, they're all the villains. It never ends. It's just more drama. It's good stuff. Wall Street Journal. This is scary. Wall Street Journal did a poll that shows that traditional American values are cratering primarily with young people and Democrats. With Republicans and older voters, it stays good. And this is really, really sad. People don't have babies, religion is less important, and money is what's most important. The secularization of our society, it never ends. Folks, I want to tell you something. I used to believe that I was invincible. That's what you feel like when you're young. You feel invincible. Now that I'm 59 years old, headed to 60, even though I'm in great health, I used to fear death. I don't fear death anymore. And one of the reasons why I don't fear death anymore is spirituality. It's like, hey, we're here. We're supposed to do good. After we do good, best we can, find our purpose, whatever. You know what? I was born on August 6, 1963. Guess what? Everything was okay before I was here. Everything will be okay when I'm not here. I mean, it's that simple. So, bottom line is, the far left, it's all part of their game. You know, it's just yuck. Emptiness. You will never be happy with emptiness. Everybody will tell you that. Nobody will tell you different. You will be empty. Kamala Harris went to Ghana to give away $139 million. How do you like that, Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky? $139 million to Ghana. Illegal driver's license going to cost Massachusetts $28 million. Can you imagine that? We're giving driver's license to illegal aliens. Unbelievable. Nashville shooting, I'm going to feature it in our local news because I want to cover this story. But there's Audrey Hale. By the way, she's a transgender. She's born a woman, wants to be a man, has her pronouns. People say, well, that's no. My point is that it's another example of these shootings. It's not a gun issue. It is a mental health issue. And it's a school security issue, which I'll talk about more. Rand Paul had a staffer brutally attacked, hospitalized, bad shape. And where? Washington, D.C. And remember that they just had that bill relating to crime in Washington, D.C. First Citizen buys Silicon Valley Bank. Fire sale. I think First Citizen's out of North Carolina. I'm sure they got a good deal. And the grand jury in Trump went home yesterday. No voting. Ken Parker from the National Enquirer voted. Testified. Coming up next, Bulldogtv local news with yours truly. Ladies and gentlemen, American jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to Bulldogtv local news, where we are sponsored by Deters Legal Consulting, Parks Yoga, and check us out on all of our platforms. My lead story is the school shooting that just happened down in Nashville because I want to bring it home to this area. This was a private school where somebody shot through a door and they went upstairs and they killed 3 adults and 3 children, including a 9-year-old little girl, was the only daughter of a pastor, and they had 3 other boys too. But I just can't fathom. I can't fathom. I got grandchildren that age. I mean, just awful. But this is what I want to just say. And I've been saying this for years, and I'm going to say it again. Maybe some private school will watch this and say he's right and do something. But it's so simple, and it's this. And I think that it's negligence if you don't. Here's an example. I used to watch one of my grandchildren, for example, stand on a stool. And my daughter would say, they're not going to fall. And I would say, you need to assume they're going to fall. That's the only way to roll. You have to assume they're going to fall. So you can't let that happen. If you are in charge of protecting children in a school, and I don't care if it's public or private, and this really goes out to public schools more than anything, or private schools, because I think public schools, there's laws now in Ohio and Kentucky that have the officer there. You have to pay for them. But you have to keep your school facility secure. And you have to have somebody there who is a guardian angel for those children. And when word gets out that you have a guardian angel there for the children, that will also help protect the school, and it never happens. You cannot assume it won't happen to you. You need to assume tomorrow a shooter's coming to your school. That's how you have to think. And there's retired police officers, retired veterans, so forth and so on, that my guess would do it for free. Would do it for free. Because the time frame to call the police and the police get there, more people die. You have to do better. You have to do better. It's that simple. We're not going to cure the mental health issue that causes these shootings. So you got to assume it's going to happen to your school. It's that simple. Assume it is going to happen and protect the children. It's nuts not to do that. And long crime. Lamona Brewer has been arrested for shooting a teenager in Anderson Township. The teenager was involved in a Nerf war when he was shot by Brewer at the home of Bengal Joe Mixon. Brewer is a boyfriend of Mixon's sister who was also indicted on charges from the incident. Nerf war turned deadly. Brookville man Bradley Norman's behind bars and accused of molesting a 5-year-old girl. Death penalty. Norman was a friend of the girl's family and spent the night at the family's house last month. The girl told a family member that Norman touched her. Norman admitted to molesting but is pleading not guilty. In local news, Cincinnati Mayor F. Pureval says he'll run for re-election as Cincinnati's mayor in 2025. Wow. Shocker. Pureval has traveled to the White House multiple times in support of Joe Biden. That tells you all you need to know. Many have speculated he could join the Biden administration. He'd be perfect. West Claremont schools are partnering with Union Township police and fire departments in hopes of improving safety. The police and emergency teams will provide an active shooter training session for the high school this Friday. Officials have said the exercise comes at a crucial time with unfortunate events that happened in Nashville. In Kentucky State news, the Kentucky Democratic Party's and endorsed Andy Beshear. He'll face off against Democrats Jeff Young and Pepe Martin, formerly a Republican. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul announced Monday one of his staff members was brutally attacked. The attack happened in broad daylight in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. Apparently has life-threatening injuries. In Ohio State news, Ohio Senate Bill 83, or the Higher Education Enhancement Act, could determine how a college instructor teaches. The new bill would require instructors to include both sides of controversial topics. Seems fair. In sports, efforts to clean up horse racing took a step forward Monday with the launch of a new anti-doping program. Yay! You ready for this news? What player will earn the 4th most money in the Reds' payroll this year? Former Red Ken Griffey Jr. He hasn't played since 2008. This year he gets a $3.5 million payday. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. And coming up next, World News with Jamie Spindley.
Good day, Bulldog Nation. The latest world headlines. The first shipment of tanks from Germany had been sent to Ukraine. 18 cutting-edge main battle tanks were delivered. Tanks from the United Kingdom have also arrived. North Korea has revealed small nuclear warheads which it says can be fitted on short-range missiles. Photos were published in their state newspapers this morning to provide evidence. At least 24 people have died in a landslide that buried entire families under mud and rubble in the mountain range in Ecuador. Rescue teams have been dispatched. An Australian man has hit the jackpot with his metal detector. He found a massive gold nugget worth 240,000 Australian dollars. That's about 160,000 US dollars. What a lucky man. And British Airways is cancelling around 32 flights a day to and from London Heathrow at the start of Easter holidays. The move is due to 10-day strike over pay. Until tomorrow, be safe and take care. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury Bulldog Nation, welcome to the third, fourth, we don't know, we're losing count, episode of the Bulldog Sports with Eric and Nick. We're just two average Joes rapping about sports. And of course, let's get right to it. By the way, did you have a good week, Nick?
Great week, yes. Good.
I see you're sporting your Cleveland Indians. Bulldog Mafia today. All right, the NCAA tournament. Do you believe this? Florida Atlantic has made it to the Final Four. You believe that? Florida Atlantic.
Right. And who beat Creighton today?
San Diego State.
Yeah,
but here's the Final Four. You got Florida Atlantic playing Connecticut, and you have San Diego State playing Miami. Not a bunch of blue bloods, except Connecticut used to be good. Let me tell you something about the tournament, which I just find just very interesting, is these teams that are in the finals, these Final Four, I've watched them play, they're scrappy. They're athletic. They get after it.
Right.
And what I think is these blue blood teams, like Kentucky's Exhibit A, you don't see the same fire from them like you do these other teams in the tournament, where it's like they expect you put the Kentucky uniform on, you walk out there, and you're supposed to win because you're a higher recruit.
Or Duke or Arizona, or UCLA.
Kansas.
But what I think, and I've been reading about this, the portal transfer, the transfer portal, whatever,
is making things more even.
The NIL, right. Miami's paying a guy $800,000 to come there through this NIL. Totally legal. But yeah, I think that's making everything more equal.
You know, the SEC, UK used to win it like automatically. The SEC now has better coaching, better recruiting. I mean, more and more players. But our top team, Alabama 1 seed, gone.
I thought they were
Houston, gone.
Yeah. I thought Alabama would take it. They are a tough team, a scrappy team. They're a tough team, but yeah.
Xavier went down hard, but they weren't expected to get there, I don't think. And with Sean Miller coming back, I mean, I think the future's bright for Xavier.
Yeah, he did a good job.
All right. Let's talk World Baseball Classic. Did you watch the final game? I think it was Sunday night after we were on air, wasn't it?
Yep.
All right. It was Cuba versus the United States.
No.
What a game.
Japan,
excuse me. I take that back. All right, Japan. What'd you think of the game?
I hated it. It was awful. We lost.
We killed Cuba. You know what? Let's talk about the main thing of the Classic. First off, I can't believe we lost the game. I could not believe with that firepower. However, we have some of our best players who still aren't on that team. But when I look at that lineup at the top, I'm like, oh my God, this is an all-star lineup. How do you lose?
To an island that's no bigger than, what, California?
Right. But then Betts hits into a double play. Mookie, he's automatic. He hits in a double play. And you can't script it. Ohtani pitching to Trout, last out, and he strikes him out and their teammates.
They wanted that. And he's never swung and struck out 3 times at a bat in his whole career.
Well, no, I understand it's been only 26 times out of 4,000 or 5,000 bats where he swung 3 times. I mean, it is like
and how do you,
rare as hell.
You're right.
But see, Trout, I don't know. Maybe Trout's not for the big stage. He never makes the playoffs. Maybe he's content playing baseball up until September. But I thought it was great. Now, some other news. It's sports related. There's a lot of talk. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen maybe reuniting. What do you think about that, Nick? What do you think should sports fans support this or not? I say yes. I want to see them reunited.
Well, yeah, sports fans.
Peaches and Herbs reunited. It feels so good.
The best thing I read about this was she didn't cheat on, or he hadn't cheated on her, so she'll take him back. When she's running around with her
jiu-jitsu man.
Right. So he didn't cheat on her, so it's all good.
Well, maybe they just needed a break.
I guess.
There's also, let's talk about this, because this is kind of a guy show. We're kind of a politically incorrect show. No offense to you ladies, but if you're a lady watching this, you probably think like us guys. There's a famous poster. You can just put whatever beautiful woman you want on the poster. Josh brought this up. Anyways, so there's a beautiful woman, and underneath the caption is, some man somewhere is sick and tired of her.
Correct.
So just because she's beautiful doesn't mean that she's a handful.
I've been saying this my whole life. Tommy Lee was sick of Pamela Anderson, and at the time, she was the hottest woman on the planet. So
yeah, and he got tired of her. Poor women, I tell you right now. All right, opening day Reds, Thursday. We play the Pirates. Where does Cleveland play?
We play the Mariners at 10 o'clock at night in Seattle.
Oh,
for
God.
4 games. I can't watch any of the games. I'll be in bed.
That's awful. Hunter Green, who throws 100 miles per hour, is going to be pitching for the Reds. I'm not going to the game. I'm back into baseball, though, but I don't know if I'm back into the Reds. These other teams are more fun to watch. The Reds, I just don't know how the Reds. I think the Reds are going to be worse than they were last year. I don't know how the Reds can't be worse than last year because they have, their players. The quality of their players is less.
Right. Well,
they got rid of all their best players.
They're all going to the model of the Indians that did a couple years ago. Less bashers, faster players, base to base, stealing, bunting, good defense. They made the bases bigger, so that's what the MLB wants, I guess.
And you can't do shift anymore.
Right.
Which means there's going to be more hits.
It's going to be interesting, yeah.
Some of those shifts are crazy. Yeah. It's like you're a right-handed batter or you're a left-handed batter, and there's nobody over there. It's like you can't punch the ball over there.
I mean, yeah, what the hell, man?
It's crazy.
I've been saying that for years. I mean,
all right. There's 3 top quarterbacks that had a pro day this past week. Bryce Young in Alabama, your man,
C.J.
Stroud in Ohio, and Levitz in Kentucky.
Right.
You're the Carolina Panthers. Who you picking?
Well, if it was based on pro day, Levitz did a great job, but I'm picking Stroud, man. I'm telling you, I told you that a couple weeks ago. He's going to get the number 1 pick.
I understand from those so-called experts, the Stroud is the best pick to pick.
Right.
But I go with the Bama guy because he's a winner. See, I think it's that it factor. And I think these Bama quarterbacks have a more of an it factor than your Ohio State quarterbacks. Based on recent history.
Yeah, true.
Based on recent history.
Jalen Hurts, he's a winner. I think he's an outlier, though, because McCarron, he's in the XFL. He won today. I watched it a lot.
Let's talk a little bit more about the NFL. The NFL, I think it's April 26th is the draft. It's always fun. I love watching the draft.
Yeah.
The NFL keeps it all alive. Like everybody, all of us that like our teams, you like the Browns, I like the Cowboys, the Bengals. It's almost like they immediately get you thinking towards next year.
Yeah.
As soon as the Super Bowl's over, boy, they suck us back in for next year.
Right.
Okay. So what do you think? Right now, just so you know, Aaron Rodgers is still a Packer. Lamar Jackson is still a Raven.
He'll stay there. He's got to stay there. But as far as a draft, I don't care. I've got no picks. We traded our last pick.
Cleveland traded all their picks.
We got a receiver yesterday from Seattle, so we have no picks.
You know what? I can tell. This is just my opinion. You really ought to build your team through the draft, and the reason why is by building your team through the draft, you get these young players. And you get a 4-year contract. So if you draft well, you get a great player
That's the
for
model.
4 years.
Right.
You know,
Take up the 5th year
by
up.
the way, Seattle is doing a great job on the draft.
They hit in their draft.
They're in the draft. And then you can plug in a free agent here and there.
Right.
But I think the draft's the way to go.
Don't build your team around it. Like
The Cowboys, for example, have made their team better. It's been through good drafting.
Right. Well, when they were dominant, the triplets, they were
Yes.
all drafted.
Yes, all drafted. All right, the NBA, the Lakers,
back in it, baby.
They were back in it, but today LeBron James comes back after 13 games, and they lose to the Bulls at home.
Did he play?
He played.
Oh, my Lord. Did you hear what he said about the foot thing?
No.
2 doctors told him to get surgery on the foot, and they asked him why he did, and he said, because I went to the LeBron James of doctors, foot doctors. And meaning himself, because that's how narcissistic he is.
Well, you got to admire the guy. He wants to play and get him into the playoffs again.
Win with him, my Lord.
But they were winning without him.
Right, that's what they can't win with him.
The chemistry might be messed up with LeBron James.
They won all 3 of their games this week, so they're in the 7th spot.
Dallas Mavericks are spiraling.
Yeah.
Not doing good. Okay, FC Cincinnati keeps winning. Are you following this at all?
No.
Does Cleveland have a soccer team?
Not anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
MSL.
Wow.
Never had an MSL team.
Rick Pitino got a new job at the St. John's. I love it. Rick Pitino is my favorite college basketball
I
coach.
think he was mine, too.
I wish he'd come back to Kentucky like Sean Miller at Xavier. But maybe St. John's is the beginning.
I don't think he'll come to Kentucky.
You watch St. John's. You know what he did?
They'll go
The first
deep in
thing,
the tournament.
the first thing he announced, he goes, most of our players aren't going to be with us. I mean, he basically told, "Hey, get on it." It's like only the
Deion
captain.
Sanders thing.
It's like only the he did it. He Deion Sanders his team. He Deion Sanders his team. Like I don't think you're going to fit. I mean, that's good. All right, this I found very interesting. This Saturday. Now I used to go to this when it was the Spiral Stakes, Jim Beam Stakes.
Jim Beam, yeah.
Okay, I used to go to it. And what's really weird about this is this wasn't in the news. I follow the news. It wasn't in the news at all that this Saturday was the Jeff Ruby Stakes out at Turfway Park.
Great marketing for that.
And but I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was
Local news.
They didn't promote. They didn't promote it at all. I never heard of it. So my cousin Josh, who went, tells me it was awful. He says the food, the vending, everything.
Right.
He goes, Eric, he was cussing. He was cussing in his Texas at me. He goes, Eric, it was awful. I said, Josh, I didn't even know about it. Of course, I would have went to Western Kentucky anyway this weekend on my campaign trail. But anyway, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, 2 fills was the winner, paid $764. But this event is falling.
Yeah,
I mean, it is falling.
Jim Beam Stakes. What was it before that? It was
something furniture, a furniture company. I thought it was a furniture company.
It was Jim Beam Stakes. It was a great event. There was thousands of people there.
It was Spiral Stakes, Jim Beam. Yeah.
To the Derby.
Derby, right. Mm-hmm. But it's fallen. But anyway. All right. Is there anything else in sports that our outline does not have in it that you want to talk about?
My Lady Buckeyes are in the Elite Eight. They beat.
That's right. I was going to bring that up.
Right, well, you did.
You're Ohio. God, I forgot it. Good job. Your Ohio State Buckeyes have something to root for. The women beat Connecticut. And by the way, that ends like the Connecticut's like streak forever.
Yeah.
Once again, I think the women is more competitive because of everything. South Carolina's the new Connecticut.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I mean, so I think it just you get good players spread out. It's probably good for college basketball.
It probably is. It's the new way, man.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, American Jerry Bulldog Nation, we'll see you next week. Hopefully there's a lot of good sports that happen this week. If not, we'll make something up.
Good night.
Good show, Nick.
All right.